morning. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Your attention. Welcome to Friday Coffee. This is the chatty corner. Good morning. Welcome to Friday Coffee. So glad you guys are here visiting. I'm Susan from the Chamber. We're going to hear a little bit more from our sponsor in a few minutes, but where's there? I'll call her Dr. Laura, so she'll tell us more about CAS Consulting, but thank you for being the sponsors. Michelle's there. Just a note that for those that are joining us on Zoom, you should be muted, and if you have a question, you can put it in the chat. Unmute yourself for introductions or questions at the end. We're glad that you're joining us. Let's see. It's just, I think you might just have to. It went to sleep, I think. There we go. We're going to go ahead and do introductions. So, Stephanie, you want to go ahead and start?
Sure. I'm Stephanie Thompson with Central Missouri Community Action.
And Darin, Preis, also with Central Missouri Community Action.
Laura Beatonhop, Career and Trade Schools Consultant. Michelle Weaver, Cumulus Media.
Deborah Marshall, Missouri Life Magazine.
Samantha Rush, MRA Construction. Florida Stoll from the South Network.
Christopher Scott with Farmers Insurance and Cowboy County Western District Commissioner.
Katrina Tinen, Central Bank, and Chamber Ambassador.
Dan Basil, Home Helpers, and Chamber Ambassador.
Stu Murphy, Chamber Ambassador.
Iowa Presbury, Hope for Brew Gives Inc.
Major April, the Salvation Army of Jefferson City.
Melinda Jennings, Salvation Army.
Susan Cook, Habitat for Humanity.
Frank Reisig, Evening Rotary and Unitarian Church.
Beth Calgill, Liberty Family Medicine, Chamber Ambassador.
Derek Thomas, City Council, Third Ward.
Ron Fitzwater, Missouri Pharmacy Association, Mayor Jefferson City.
Rebecca Brown, Chamber Staff.
Lori Pitts, Chamber Staff.
Susan from the Chamber.
Jonathan Lorenz with Ameren, Missouri.
Lori Hilsher, Ameren, Missouri.
Ryan Daniels, Cameron.
Rick Lancaster, Lancaster County.
Tony West, Cedar Department.
Kim Darrell, I'm currently chair of the Chamber of Commerce. In my spare time, I work at Central Bank.
Joan Wilkes, Central Bank, and your Young Professionals, Professional Development.
Mary Plummer with the Chamber.
Ashley Timmy with the Chamber. Deb Bushman, Holland Family Chiropractic, and Chamber Ambassador. Darcy Craig, Cup City Casa Court Plan Special Advocates, and Chamber Ambassador.
Lots of ambassadors in the house, right?
Rick Jefferson, Major Chamber Ambassador.
Stephanie Langman, CNS Employment Solutions. I guess I'll jump on that chamber.
I don't know, that wasn't very enthusiastic. That's not the ambassador way.
I'm Cameron Gerber with the TV.
Curtis Gove with the Architects Alliance.
Okay, if anybody that's joining us online wants to unmute themselves and introduce. Oh, 14 online. 14 online. We gonna have anybody introduce himself?
Hi, Brian McMillan with Bartlett and West.
Vicki Culpepper with UCP Heartland.
Paula Benny, CNS Employment Solutions.
Zola Finch, RMI Business Finance. Lorene Mall, Scholastic.
Gina Clement, Court Appointed Special Advocates.
Jana Millard, Mid-Missouri Apartment Association.
Anybody else? All right, and in the room, Amy, do you want to?
Sure. Hi, Amy Hughes with Green Acres Jefferson City, also the Young Professionals Membership Chair.
Good. All right. Okay, I want to welcome some new members that have joined since we were together last. Advanced Septic and Pumping, Primerica Financial Solutions, and TCA Pharmacy Solutions. I didn't think any of them were joining us, but we welcome them to the chamber. You know what? It's mine. Yeah, you'll have to debate that. Sorry, we're having a little technical. Yeah. All right, and now for our sponsors.
everybody. Dr. Laura Deaconhop, Career and Trades Consulting. Very happy to be here. Thank you for the chamber to let me sponsor today. I established CATS because I love cats. But last year, 2024, after I retired from the Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development, I had been there for more than 20 years. Started off as administrative assistant and worked my way up to the director of academic affairs. And that is the regulatory arm of the department. So if anybody wants to start a new school, public, independent, career, trade school, you'd have to get approval from the department before you could start advertising and enrolling students. And it was my staff and myself that were primarily responsible for that. In my 20 years with the department, I don't think we were ever caught up on the backlog of applications. And that was always a sore spot with us, because we didn't really have anybody that we could say, hey, go call this person, and they can work with you one-on-one. Because, I never had more than 3 people working on my staff at any time. And when you have 60 or 70 applications waiting, and it's not just applications that we work on new programs, we work on student complaints, we just didn't have the ability to give the one-on-one service that a lot of these schools do. So near the end of my tenure with the department, I thought that could be something that I could do part-time once I leave the service. And so as soon as I retired, bam, I started Career and Trade Schools Consulting. In my year and a half about, since I started CATS, this says 12, it's actually 15 now. And you can see 5 of them fully certified. It's 8 now that are fully certified. They're enrolling students, they're teaching careers and trades. And I have 2 that they just have to turn over their deposit information to the department, and then they'll get their certificate. And then I have the rest that are still in a review process. I reviewed them, I communicate with them, told them, here are your findings, here are the things that we need to work on. And so we do Zoom calls, we do emails, we do back and forth until we can get them up to minimum standards. And then I release them to the department to get their certificate. And I've had wonderful feedback from the schools that I've worked with. A lot of them were, like one I've had in the hopper, the department had in the hopper for more than a year. And that is just, it's painful to the department, I know, because I trained those folks. It's painful to me to hear that, because they want to share their knowledge and their skills with their community, with their students, and get those students out into the workforce to help their community and just kind of continue the process. It is a challenging process. We've done as much as we can as a state agency to provide checklists, to provide videos, but again, that one-on-one service is something that was really missing. And so I'm happy to report that I provide that service here. Now, most of you guys here are business owners already. Maybe you're having difficulty in finding employees for your company. Maybe they've got training a certain way and that's not how you do your business. So maybe you want to start training people yourself, and then we had one school that they would train people, and then like the top 10%, they would just offer them a job upon graduation. I can help you with that. Not all businesses have to actually go through the full certification process. There are several categories in Missouri statutes that allow you to get an exemption. It's a much easier process, much shorter, but if you don't know what documentation and which boxes to check, it could take a while. One of the other services that I provide, and I'm working this weekend with a school, is they've been in operation for several years, and they're pursuing accreditation. And so they've sent me their paperwork. I'm going to review all that, have conferences with them, and hopefully we can get them into candidacy status. If anybody knows about accreditation, that is kind of the next stepping stone before you can apply to the federal government to make your students eligible for Pell Grants, things like that. But yeah, I'm working on that, and that's really all I have to say. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have here in the room or on Zoom. I'm thrilled with the number of people on Zoom, because usually there's only 1 or 2 people.
Well, I think you brought cat with glasses on.
Susan Cook, Habitat.
All right, I'm gonna take your picture. Kind of understand there by the screen. Who's here with the purpose, girls? All right, girl, there we go. Got it. Good. Congratulations. All righty, and thanks also to our sponsor, Cumulus. Rochelle, I don't know if you have any marks because Laura got to speak here, but
Yeah, you'll get 25 free ads for us to just say everything that you said.
Oh.
We can condense that down to 30 seconds. We'll put it on the radio.
I got that, wonderful, thank you so much.
and we appreciate that, your sponsorship and Cumulus too. I'm gonna make some quick announcements before the program. So glad that you guys are here networking with us today, but we have other networking opportunities. And one is next week, we call Chamber Connections. It's always at a chamber member restaurant or a bar. And this month, it's at Oscar's, and our sponsor is Jefferson Bank. It's actually Oscar's Backdoor Lounge, so that sounds like a lot of fun. You've got to go to the Backdoor Lounge, right? It's the 17th from 4 to 5:30, so bring your business cards. They'll have free appetizers, and there's a cash bar. It's a great opportunity for you to network in a casual setting. Announcement today from, I guess it's gonna be Lori with the Leadership Jefferson City.
Can I just stand here?
You can.
Okay. I'm Lori, leadership, class of 2025, this is Samantha, she's also in the class. Battle of the Bruce is gonna be August 23rd from 12 to 4. We are still taking sponsors till next Wednesday, through the end of next week. Feel we would like next Wednesday, but we'll keep it open until next week. Our things that are a little different this year are entertainment. We have 2 bands, the Cousins and Piano and Cassie's Tea House. We also have several food vendors. Right now we have 2 confirmed, but there might be more. And we have axe throwing as an event.
Sounds like you're
I know. Well, yes, here.
Seems like a really safe county. And we do have 25 confirmed brewers, so that's pretty exciting. And I know that 2 of the brewers are actually children of former leadership members that, since we've been doing Battle of the Brews, it's something they wanted to take on, and they so that's kind of fun with the legacy that it's creating in this community of just kind of thing. Anybody have any questions?
The beneficiaries this year?
Oh yeah, that's on here, thank you. The beneficiaries are Salvation Army, specifically to their family center that they're creating, because that is the only space that takes families really in mid-Missouri, and we really wanted to support that. And the other agency is Capital Projects.
Yeah.
And tickets are on sale right now. You're good. Tickets are on sale. They're obviously one sponsorships right now, but we're selling tickets. They're $40. There's a 6-pack available as well on the website. They'll be $45 at the door.
Thank you. All righty, another event coming up soon, opportunity for your business to sponsor or to attend. It is the Chamber's annual gala. We always have a fun theme. This year it's Yacht Rock Gala, so I'd say the committee's outdone themselves this year. So people on the committee, you can raise your hand and take credit for that. No one's going to. It's September 4th. It's a Thursday this year, which is a little different. We've always been on Friday, so we're on Thursday. We feel like some of the comments we got about conflicts with Friday night football and activities, that Thursday would be a day that maybe more of our chamber members could attend. We changed the location too. It's at Capitol Bluffs. Still same great networking, wonderful food. They'll be dancing, 3 awards, so really prestigious community awards, and encourage you to attend that event. More information is on the website, or you're getting emails about it. Joan? Yeah.
So this is our save the date for our professional development summit. It is Thursday, September 11th. Sponsorships are available and registration is open. We have an awesome lineup of speakers already, and we will have an interactive panel in the afternoon as well. So we're really excited about this. It's a topic that hits really close to my heart. I've lost several friends to suicide. And so we want to help our young professionals in Jefferson City make sure that they're taking care of themselves. So, please consider attending. We have no age limit on this summit, even though it is put on by NYP. We welcome all ages. So if you'd like to attend, please register and attend with us. So
What's the price?
it's $55. We do have an office pack of 4 for 225. I'll just check on that one for you. So,
Yeah, yes,
thank you.
yeah, great title, refresh and reset efficiency of mental health in the workplace. Great job, good job. Well, today's worker, Gary, I'm gonna let you introduce.
Thank you, Susan. Before I introduce our program, I want to ask another new member who arrived after we did introductions. Rob, would you stand up and introduce yourself?
Certainly. My name's Rob Cotter, with Preis Financial. I've been in the community for 14 years, however, I had an office down in Osage Beach. I've now moved up here to Jefferson City so I can service our community a little more. If there's ever any questions or if I can be a resource, please reach out to me. I'd love to talk to every one of you. Thank you.
Appreciate your membership. I was asking Renee earlier if I could speak from this side of the room so I didn't have to, wade my way through the crowd, basically. And also, I'd like to be at a place, I don't know where you'd be able to pick up my voice, but I would kind of look good. So, Renee, thank you for suggesting that I stand between Stu and It's really my pleasure this morning to introduce Darin Preis with Central Missouri Community Action Agency. They're a tremendous partner with the Chamber. We work together on a lot of different ventures, particularly in the housing arena. They had a very exciting event this week that a lot of us were able to attend. And we wanted to get the word out on all the good things they're doing and that event, or that project in particular. So Darin, I want to thank you. Darin's the Executive Director of the Central Missouri Community Action Agency. We appreciate you being here, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Gary, I appreciate that. It is. I appreciate being here. I'm usually one of the folks lurking online, so it's great to be here in person today and join you and talk about some of the work we do at Central Missouri Community Action, and specifically our housing development work. I'm still contemplating what Nautilus chic is. Some guidance on that one, but I will definitely be there for the Battle of the Preis. That's one of my favorite events down here in Jefferson City. So Central Missouri Community Action has been around for 60 years now. We're actually celebrating our 60-year birthday this year. We're not dwelling on it too much because I don't want to highlight the fact that the battle to end poverty is still going on. The realities of poverty is that you might pull someone out of poverty and help them to be economically stable and thriving in the community, and yet here comes another one, and it's because poverty is not a pool that we can drain, it's a river, and we need to constantly be looking upriver at the causes and conditions of poverty, housing being a significant one of those. I've been using some of my talking points more recently. I hear myself saying over and over that anti-poverty work and economic development are two sides of the same coin. If we accomplish one, we're going to accomplish the other, and I think that everybody in this room is interested in economic development, and many of you probably likewise are interested in ending poverty because it's not good for our community. So our mission is to build relationships to empower people, strengthen resilience, and improve quality of life for all members of the community. So, probably the empowering people and strengthening resilience, that's more closely related with the work we do with individuals. And I'll talk a little bit about that this morning, but just very briefly. The thing I think that you all should focus on is the building relationships and the quality of life for all members of the community. To my point a second ago, as long as poverty is with us, as long as there's people struggling, we're going to have crime, we're going to have low academic performance, we're going to have unprepared workforce, we're going to have all of the challenges that come along with the existence of poverty. So the more that we're all paddling in the same direction to remove poverty, create economic development opportunities, that improves quality of life for all members of the community. So I hope you can see that our mission is a reflection of your mission and the goals of your community. So this is our theory of change. I won't get into the complexity of what we are trying to accomplish, and I don't even know how well you can see this, but essentially, you know, poverty and income are sort of unrelated in a way because people can make little money and still thrive. And some people who make money are not thriving. So we sort of separate that out, and our theory of change is really unrelated to income, but what all of us need to be thriving members of our community. And that includes social connections, family well-being, and economic stability. When we have those three things, we can be participating and vibrant members of our community. And so everything that we do, and actually Stephanie Thompson, who's here, you probably know Stephanie, she's our Cole County community organizer. She brought one of our brochures with you. If you open that up, you'll see another image of the theory of change. And on this page, you'll see there's an icon associated with the 2 or 3 circles of our theory of change. And then when you open the brochure all the way and you see all of our different programs, you'll see the icon associated with those programs. So you see that everything that we do falls within our theory of change. So I've also been, one of my talking points is that we're kind of like the Procter & Gamble of nonprofits. You may know one of our brands and not realize that it's part of the Central Missouri Community Action Package. So we apply for and implement lots and lots of different state, federal, and local programs, some of which you might recognize here. Head Start's probably the most obvious of them, but I'll talk about a couple of these as they're related to economic development. Head Start and early childhood I'm not going to talk about today unless you ask questions, and I would be happy to. But obviously we know that childcare is a critically important component of workforce support. People need quality childcare so that they can be good, productive employees. So I'm going to get straight to the stuff that you really want to hear about, and that is our Stronghold Landing development. How many of you were at the ribbon cutting on Tuesday? Several of you out there sweating with us. Thank you for indulging us. It was not as bad as it could have been, I suppose, on July 8th, but it was hot. So the rest of you are getting a nice cool version of some of my comments from that morning. So we started this project, really started to conceive it when the tornado tore through on May 22nd of 2019. That's when, you know, this community really stood up and the immediate crisis response was unbelievable. We were part of that with Salvation Army, United Way, so many Habitat, so many other organizations, and really addressed that immediate crisis. But as you all know, it wiped out about 150 housing units, and the tail has been long on repairing that. So we've been involved, and many of you have seen Stephanie, and many of you in this room have been involved in committees and task force and all different kind of groups that are talking about what does it take to bring back our housing stock. And in fact, you know, the housing stock was already low before the tornado. So the goal was to go back above that, and that's where we're headed. The city commissioned a study, a housing study, 2 years ago now, I guess. That's available on the city's website. I would encourage you to take a look at it because it's a very comprehensive review of the housing stock, the economic environment, the workforce environment, really what it's going to take to line out more housing in Jefferson City. And we've, you know, latched onto that. That's a tool that we use when we're applying for funds for housing because it's all right there. It tells you everything you need to know. And the Jefferson City situation is kind of unique because it's the middle housing that's getting squeezed out. You know, there's not enough rental and affordable housing, so people with low income are having to pay more than they can really afford to rent, you know, either bigger or nicer or closer in units. And people with more income can't find enough houses that are in the range that they want to buy, so they're sort of buying out of that middle income stock as well. And what that means is that a lot of the low income folks are moving further away to afford their housing, and a lot of upper income households are moving further away to be able to find the type of housing that they want. And we want them to come to Columbia, right, Mayor? Or to Jefferson City.
Missouri.
I'm so sorry, I forget where I am sometimes. I that slips out sometimes.
His hair's not purple, he doesn't have the purple hair.
What I meant to say was that we want people to move to Jefferson City. We want to have the kind of employer environment where there's lots of good jobs for anybody that wants to move to Jefferson City, and we want to make sure that there's housing so that people can live close to their employers and be productive, efficient workers. That's what we all want in Jefferson City. I might have different messaging from you. So we applied for a series of applications. In 2022, we applied for low-income housing tax credits. We did not have the support of the community at that time, and really in hindsight, we didn't do the groundwork first. So that application did not get approved, and we applied again in 2023 after having done a lot of the groundwork, and credit to Stephanie for really facilitating a lot of that work. But we were successful that time, in part because we also had a community development block grant disaster recovery grant that came, it's Department of Economic Development funds that were designed to mitigate the effects of the tornado. And so we got $2.2 million to leverage our low-income housing tax credit application, and that's what put us over the top. So this project, Stronghold Landing, it's 40 units. It's going to cost about $13 million, 2.2 of which is the CDBG disaster recovery funds. We've got about $1 million of low-income housing tax credits, and all of that leverages a construction loan from Central Bank that fills in the gap. So that's how that all comes together. And low-income housing tax credits, for this very simple version of that, is essentially there's state and federal tax credits available through the Missouri Housing Development Commission. And essentially when those tax credits are awarded, investors can buy those through what's called tax syndicators. And that's what becomes the cash that you use for construction. And that's what you use to leverage those construction loans and make the cash flow work on these projects. So I mentioned it's 40 units. You can see the layout of the property here. This is a community room that we'll have, and we'll set that up with computers and other things so that the kids that live in this complex can go there to study or do their homework. They can gather. There'll be a kitchen there, a nice group setting. There'll also be a playground over here. And my favorite little unique thing is we're going to have a dog park there as well. We want the residents to have their furry friends with them as well. There's going to be 28 2-bedroom, 2-bath units and 12 3-bedroom, 2-bath units. This is a pretty typical layout for a 2-bedroom. In your package, you can see the layout for the 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom as well. There'll be some variations of these throughout the complex depending on the footprint of the specific building it's in, but that's generally what we're looking at. So they'll all have a faux hardwood floor, so those are maintenance-free. You know, we've all dabbled with carpeting in these projects, and you run into all kinds, you just are constantly replacing carpet. So we wanted to have hardwood, and so that's, like I said, maintenance-free. These are based on a variety of market rate rents and a combination of workforce and affordable housing. So depending on someone's income, that's how we determine what their rent is going to be. So thank you. This is all in your packet as well. So there's 8 workforce units, and basically that means we just use market rate. So whatever the market rate is for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, that's what we're going to charge for rent. And then there's more units for 80% of area median income, 60%, and 30%. So it's really a mixed income project. And you can see in your packet, just to give you a sense of, these are 2023 numbers, so they're constantly being updated, but the fair market rent for the different income thresholds is on the page that looks like this, just to give you a sense. So for example, at the 80% income limit for a 3-person household, their household income can't be more than $63,040, just to give you a sense of that. A lot of what we'll see are 3-person households. And then basically the rent is established by HUD's definition of affordable housing is 30% or less of household expense is going towards housing costs. That's what they figured out, that's how the rent is derived. And so you see that the rents range from $450 for the lowest income 2-bedroom unit up to $950, I think, for the market rate 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Any questions about that project right now? Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick one. I have a lot of friends trying to find housing, but they have pets.
Yeah.
So are these units going to be pet friendly? There's a dog park there.
It will be pet friendly. Yeah.
That would be.
There will be limits. We don't want, 100-pound, St. Bernard dogs in there, but yes, they will be
I
pet
think
friendly.
that would be okay.
Absolutely. Other questions? So I'll keep on going until somebody gives me the hook. We also have bought or are in the process of clearing title on 5 more lots here in Jefferson City, and the goal is to make single-family homes either for sale or for rent. There'll be some combination. This is an example of a home that we just finished last spring in Columbia. We're building 14 more of these in Columbia right now. And the goal is basically we will subsidize the down payment costs so that people who otherwise wouldn't be able to buy can. More often than not, somebody's paying a mortgage, maybe they're paying or paying rent of $800 or $900 a month. They can afford a mortgage, but they can't afford is to save up for that down payment. So we'll offset that down payment through either grant or subsidy type of process so that we can get people into their own home. We know that when you're thinking of the continuum of housing needs, there's folks who are unsheltered and just need overnight care and figuring out where they're going to be tomorrow. Then you need affordable housing, rental properties, you need rental homes, you need homes for sale, and on up. You need the whole spectrum, and the Jefferson City Housing Study really clearly outlines all of that. So we want to be part of all of that, and I know, Bo, I don't know if it's fair to call you out or not. I'm hoping that you're going to submit another low-income housing tax credit. You are, good. Bo is, and maybe he can talk about that a little bit too. But we really need to be thinking, we're not the only players in town, obviously. There's, market rate developers, there's lots of folks who are looking at this issue and want to be involved, and I know that Bo is interested in bringing in more housing units too. Do you want to comment on that, or? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, you're good. I don't have much to say at this point, but we are working on a couple options for this year.
Good, well, you can count us as a supporter in whatever capacity.
Waiting for HTC to give us the guidelines.
Sure, right, that should be coming out next week, yeah.
Vote on it, so I'll know more in July 30th.
Every year, the Missouri Housing Development Commission comes out with their priority areas. They're looking at both geographic issues and other, they might, highlight supportive services or a variety of things. So we'll find out what their priorities are for this next round. The applications go in September. They have public hearings throughout the fall, and then in December when they meet, that's when they make their funding decisions. I mentioned that we got funded in December of 2023, and you might be thinking, well, what have you been doing for the last year and a half, getting to a groundbreaking this week? There is, you wouldn't believe the complexity on these projects. There is so much legal review, financial review, the tax indicators are all over it. We did several rounds of environmental reviews, had to drill down and get core samples to make sure that there wasn't any, toxins in the ground, and there is just a lot. When we talk about government efficiency, I think that the regulatory environment around some of these is a little over the top. I think we could probably streamline some of that and still get everything that we all want out of these type of projects. The single family housing is going to be much more straightforward. We're not applying for tax credits on these. We will be applying for grants that we can find to, again, offset the down payment costs. So I'm going to skip into just a little bit more about CMCA services. Again, you've got a brochure that describes all the different programs. If any of you are interested in our most recent annual report, we've got a few of those up here available, and they've got stories and statistics about the success that we've experienced over the last year. Another one of our programs is the Financial Opportunity Center. Most of what we do when it comes to individual services is based on a coaching model. I don't know about you, but I personally have a coach, and when I need to sort of step back from the chaos of my daily life and think about really long-term planning and what do I want to accomplish over the next year as an executive director, we do that for our low-income members. And that is really a coaching model where we are talking to them about what are your goals, what do you want out of life, and then we walk with them to help them achieve that. And a lot of times it really is just about pulling them out of the chaos of their daily lives, because when you have low income and are struggling, you're just thinking about how do I get dinner on the table, how do I pay for the bills that I have to pay for? And we help to kind of step back from that and think about long-term picture and planning so that they can get ahead. We're not just trying to make poverty comfortable, we're trying to move them out of poverty. So the Financial Opportunity Center is based on employment services, financial coaching, and income supports. Income supports are the more traditional social services. We want to make sure that they have access to everything they're eligible for, whether that's supplemental nutrition, or TANF benefits, or Head Start, or whatever kind of services they might be eligible for. That's how we stabilize households. Then we get into employment services, and that is either helping them to get a job or get a better job. We want them to be moving up because minimum wage just is not going to cut it. Even as the state has increased minimum wage, it's still not a living wage, and that's what we're trying to move people towards. And then financial coaching is really, again, thinking about big picture, putting a budget together so that regardless of what your income is, you're comparing it to your cost, you're putting a plan together. It's sort of the nonprofit version of Dave Ramsey, really thinking through, how do I improve my credit score? How do I make myself eligible for loans? All of those types of things are included in the financial coaching that we do. We also operate the Missouri Women's Business Center. This is a small business administration grant that we get. I got a big head and decided to call it the Missouri Women's Business Center, I guess just to stake our ground. But we primarily operate in 8 counties in central Missouri. We do have other clients in 23 other counties across the state. But the idea here is basically to help women start their own small businesses. We don't just serve women, we do serve men also. About 10% of our clients are men, but it's designed to really create opportunities for women to start their own small businesses. And we do that through a variety of things. We use Kaufman's Fast Track Business Planning course. That's a 12-week course that we facilitate and help people just put together a business plan, understand their market, really evaluate their viability. It's interesting because I think one of our, counterintuitively, one of our successes is when we sort of talk someone out of starting a small business. Those of you that are small business owners know that it is a challenge, right? It is a very difficult thing to start your own small business. And sometimes, we see people get in over their heads and they get saddled with debt, and we want to make sure we're avoiding that. If they're not ready, we don't want them to do it, and we work with them through our coaching model for that. We do one-on-one coaching. We have cohorts. We have a child care cohort, for example, working on with women who want to start their own child care business. We have a big event in the fall called Women Who Own It, where we highlight a business from each of the counties that we serve and award them for their progress. We do have a retail incubator up in Columbia. It's called the Shops at Sharp End, and it's basically just a location where, at a very low entry cost, retailers can sort of practice marketing what their products are, practice their customer service, practice how they display their products, practice their inventory control, practice their point of sale, all of those types of things that go into retail businesses at a very low cost of entry, which is the key there. So they don't have to put out a lot of money to test out their ideas. And then, let's see. Yeah, I'll go into this. So we also work with them on credit and access to capital. A lot of times, we see young entrepreneurs who are starting their own business. They're not able to access traditional banking services. They're too high risk for those banks' portfolios. We work with them to access capital, but we do it in more creative ways. So, for example, Kiva is crowdsourced funding for small businesses. That it's no interest financing. Basically, you create Kiva is the platform, and you can create an account, sort of like a social media account. You can say, look, my goal is to raise $5,000 to start my own coffee bean business or whatever it might be. And then you sell that to your friends and family and through Facebook or whatever else, and that funding comes in through that mechanism. And we're a trustee for Kiva, so that means that we're sort of vetting the clients and making sure that they actually have a business plan, that they're a good investment for people. So like I went in and contributed $25 to an account, and as that money gets paid back, then I have that back in my account that I can reinvest into another entrepreneurs. So it's kind of a cool model. Micro-lending is the next step. We actually have some private funds to do micro-lending. So these are loans $5,000 to $15,000 or so. Again, folks who can't get a traditional loan. So we're not trying to steal customers from banks. They're our friends. But we're trying to build up their ability to manage loans. And so through this microloan, we are actually backing CDs with the bank. So we go in and buy a CD from the bank, and then the bank makes the loan to the client. And it's a win-win for everybody because the bank has no risk. The entrepreneur has the opportunity to get this banking experience under their belt. And again, we've got private funds to back it. If all goes well, we make a little bit of money on the interest of that CD and turn that back into another loan. And then, ideally what happens is through that experience, whether it's a Kiva loan or one of our microloans, they're building, again, their capital, their credit scores, they're getting that experience, and they can go into a bank and get a traditional loan as their business grows or expands or whatever they want to do next with their business.
Question.
Yes?
Do you consider CDFIs, do you work with any community development financial institutions, do you consider the traditional banking model there?
That's a great question. He asked if I think that CDFIs, which are community development financial institutions, are part of the traditional banking mechanism. I would say yes and no. They are able to accept more risk than a traditional bank, but they have a lot more traditional banking mechanisms. So you see the interest rate, they're a little bit higher interest rate, generally speaking, because of that risk. But I would say they're on the spectrum. Microlending in Kiva is very non-traditional. CDFIs are sort of a midpoint, and traditional banking on the far end. And we do work with, there's two different CDFIs we work with. One based out of Kansas City called AltCap, for Alternate Capital, and then the other one is based out of Indiana, and I'm blanking on the name of that. But really we work with our clients to figure out what's the best product for them that helps them meet their their business plan. And I'll start to wrap up here in a second. So we also do employment training. We have done a lot more in the past through the Workforce Investment Act programs, but currently we just do the Skill Up program. This is for people who are receiving SNAP or TANF benefits. And basically we do all the kind of career coaching that you might expect for a workforce development support organization, including career development, employment preparation, training employment programs, so we can pay for vocational training. For example, we send a lot of folks to LPN programs, truck driving programs, welding programs, all of those types of things, and then just support and assistance. And again, all of this is through a coaching model. So we use something called motivational interviewing. We're really pulling solutions out of our members rather than telling them do this, this, and this, because solutions to poverty don't stick when you're telling people what to do. They've got to buy in, they've got to be the ones that are motivated to move themselves out of poverty, and we are the sort of leverage to make that happen. That's all I got. If you'd like to make a donation, we've made it super convenient for you. You just take a picture of that QR code and it takes you straight to the donation portal. But as you can see from our brochure, we do lots and lots of things. All of it is designed to move people up and out of poverty so that they can be thriving members of the community that we can all be proud to work with hand in hand. So, open-ended questions or any further conversation before I turn it over to the mayor?
Maybe I missed this. What's the completion date on the housing development?
So we're in a phase right now that's critically important, and the weather, affects all of that. If all goes well, we should be move-in ready by next fall, so fall of 2026.
Well, I want to thank Darin and Stephanie for being with us this morning. Great presentation.
Yeah, one more thing. Through the process of establishing Stronghold Landing, we've had so many incredible partners. from around the community, and two of them are here today that I want to particularly highlight. And the first of those is Gary Plummer, President and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. Gary has just been such a stalwart and support. When we were trying to drum up support for our low-income housing tax credit application, you all probably heard from him because he was really knocking on doors and trying to build support for that. And we can't thank you enough for your support. So I've got a plaque I'd like to present to you that says, CMCA proudly recognizes Gary Plummer for his outstanding contributions to stronghold living and development in Jefferson City. Your dedication and support to affordable housing has made a lasting impact in our community. And thanks to Susan for helping keep us organized.
Yeah.
And the second one, of course, is Mayor Fitzwater. You also have been, you were on the council that first go round, and you challenged us to really think about what are we trying to accomplish, and we used that to make our application stronger and really to dig into community coordination and communication to make sure everybody understood what we were trying to do. And then your leadership when you came on as mayor really got us over the top. I know that your advocacy work behind the scenes made a huge difference for us. And so this one, it says the same thing, but I'll go ahead and read it. CMCA proudly recognizes Ron Fitzwater, Jefferson City Mayor, for his outstanding contributions to stronghold land development in Jefferson City, Missouri. Your dedication and support to affordable housing has made a lasting impact in our community. So Ron, thank you so much. Okay, now I'll turn it back to you. Mayor?
The third one was for Luke Holzschneider.
Okay.
Curious about it. Because Luke's
No, we're not
Well, that is obviously a very exciting project you have. We've been working as a community, have been working on it for a while. It was a fun day on Tuesday when we got to finally take the next step. I think, Gary gave me the opportunity in April of '23, when I first came in as mayor. I think I'd been in a couple weeks. He said, would you mind giving a State of the City presentation? And I talked about things like, what's our horizon, what's our vision? We've got to get this community rallied around a vision and working toward a common goal. And clearly housing was one of those projects. And I talked about a race to 50. And it's frustrated me that we have kind of been stagnant for the last two census cycles, for the last couple decades, that we're just not growing like the rest of our state. And Missouri doesn't boom like Florida and Texas and California, but we have that nice steady growth, except for here. And I know the tornado was kind of a step backwards, so we kind of adopted that housing project, or the housing study, and a very comprehensive study that was done in August of 2022. So we were able to take that and then begin to expand those opportunities. And looking at low-income housing tax projects, and Bo has been a great asset in our community and other projects, and hopefully we'll be working closely on something for this December. But taking that and kind of doing our race to 50 and looking at how can we be a more ready asset, and you've probably heard me say in the past that there is a role for City Hall and city government to be engaged in the community, to help build that platform, to help create the vision, to help find people that can put the project together, and then help push these things through as quickly as possible. And we're learning, or I'm learning on the conference center project, that it's just a slow, tedious, you have to go through a lot of steps. But what we try to do is streamline the process. And I saw my neighbor as I was walking down here, he's got some properties up on Capitol Avenue, and he said, over the last couple of years, it seems like developers are finding it easier to get things moved through City Hall, and that's what our goal has been. We want to be a partner. We want to have developers be able to do what they do, which is build and create the economic development in this community. And then we want to get city government out of the way so they can do, whether it's public, private,
everybody, I mean, we're welcome, and you can invite a few people to Columbia, but I mean, we're still gonna be pretty homeschool here and trying to get people into our community. But we've tried to get city government to the point where we're a resource, we're actively engaged, and then get out of the way and let people that really know the process, our banks and financial people and everybody involved. And, you know, for this project to be kind of one of those that jump-started, at least since I've been involved in our housing, and, you know, I made comments, we've got about 600 plus housing units on the table that look like they're things that are gonna go through there in various stages of being developed, not the least of which is the 40 out on the west side. But we've got Savannah Place up in the kind of Rainbow Drive area. There's 116 units proposed up there. We worked with John Farr when we agreed to do the extension of Wildwood, so from Edgewood, Wildwood going up to Rock Ridge. He's got proposals for about 120, 130 units on the new extension of Wildwood. If you've been down Edgewood, they're making great progress. That's a city-county project, and we've been very fortunate to be able to work with our county to look at exciting projects. And then we went out, and I say we, the Regional Economic Partnership went out and began some discussions with McBride Homes, and council just recently approved McBride's project, Walnut Hills, out kind of in the Covington Gardens area, out on that side of the community. That's proposed for another 230 units. We put together an incentive program to try to jumpstart some housing projects, and I think you've been able to utilize for the 5 projects here in town. And several someones come up and say, you know, is this really a good investment of city dollars? Are you gonna continuously put dollars into these kind of projects? I said, no, we don't have to, but for the campers or people that have built fires, sometimes you have to get the kindling in there and get the project started, get the process started. Once the fire's roaring, you don't have to keep throwing kindling in, you don't have to keep doing those kind of things. But we felt like we needed to jumpstart, and I think we got about another 75 projects with Cherry Creek. We were able to negotiate and get that project kind of back on track. It's been stagnant for quite some time. So we have been laser focused on the housing issue and trying to implement that study. And I compliment the news media and the News Tribune in specific. I mean, they did a very nice article recently on the race to 50, kind of, you know, catching that theme again, and talk about some of the things we're doing, and they've done a great job of hopefully keeping the community engaged in what we're doing in the housing area. Just a few other things, there's a lot of exciting things going on in the city. We continue to work on the conference center project. It is still moving forward. Council took the last step at the most recent council meeting to begin the schematic design phase. It's about $1.5 million project. And it basically takes what architects say can be put on the site and begins to take a look at how do you put it on the site. So they'll be doing some core drilling and some things to say this is how that facility, the parking garage, the conference center, and hotel will fit on that site, and what we will be looking at the next phases. There's other activities going on all across the city. We continue to work on the air tower out at the airport. We've been very fortunate. Congressman Luke Meyer, who's now retired, Congressman Andre has kind of picked up that project, and it is well underway. A lot of activity on Capitol Avenue and kind of in this corridor. We've got the Monroe Street project that should be ready to open up here fairly soon. I mean, we understand that we've got to take care of our infrastructure and working on the roads. So Monroe Street, the expansion, as I talked about on Wildwood. If you've been down to the prison area, you know, the state is building the new combined lab project on Chestnut Street, but the city has tucked away back on the backside of that project, the River Market, and that project is underway. It's under construction. We've been working with the Office of Administration, with DNR, state parks, and we'll be looking at extending our park system and some of our greenways from up on top of the hill, down through the River Market project, up the hillside to tie into Lafayette. So basically, our park system and our greenway, once everything is put together, will be able to take someone from the far west side all the way to the Katy Trail through our park system. So there's a lot of activity in the prison area, and again, we lived up to the commitment that we made to the state when they conveyed that property to us. We said we will develop it, and we're doing some very exciting things. I was in a rush when I came in. I was going to bring a prop, but I forgot the prop. But I was going to bring some sunglasses. I think I've said in here before, the future's so bright we may need shades. There's just a lot of exciting things going on in our city. When we first got started, when I first got started, it was us kind of going out and talking to people, to individuals, to developers, trying to get that spark. We're now seeing people come to us and say, hey, there's some cool things going on in your city. We'd like to be a part of it. And we've got some discussions that are going to be very exciting if we can pull all the things that are going on in the back rooms and discussions that we're having with some partners that are going to do some pretty creative things. So it doesn't happen unless we have a room full of people like you. I mean, we can come up with ideas, and you've got one of your council members here, and we talked about a lot of things, but if the community doesn't get behind it, it's very difficult. So congratulations on the groundbreaking. Derek and I were talking, we've got several more groundbreakings coming up, and they're very exciting about things that are going on. But again, it's because of the chamber having an active group, the business community. One project I didn't mention, I don't see anybody here, I don't think anybody's from Lincoln. Is anybody from Lincoln? The nursing school project, if you haven't driven by that is going to be an exciting piece of our skyline. It's going to have a beautiful facility on the top floor, looking back over the city. So John and his team have done an amazing job. So there's just a lot going on in the community, and it's because of good leadership. So thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any member announcements, quickly in our,
The Salvation Army has new majors in town, Major April and her husband Chris Clark, and so we wanted to invite our community partners to come and meet them at a cookies and punch event next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. So I've got a little, I'll send these around, but you're all invited. Come meet our new majors. They're excited to be here, and we're excited to share it with you.
One of my side jobs, I'm a coordinator for the Show Me State Air Show, which is coming up September 13th and 14th. We've got a lot of great aircraft coming. We have a career fair. We've got the kids center again. Still looking for sponsors and volunteers. ShowMeStateAirshow.com, .Facebook, .whatever, you'll find us.
Darcy?
Capital City Casa is one of the Target Circle Giving campaign charities, for this semester quarter. So if you have any points that you would love to unload, gladly accept it.
So, Habitat celebrating building 135 homes in 32 years.
Wow.
And, actually have another one that is selling tomorrow, Saturday, at 11 o'clock. We'll be at 1320 East Miller. We invite you to come and see the single mom with 4 children who will be receiving the keys to her home that she is purchasing. So 11 o'clock, 1320 East Miller.
Anybody else?
We had a drawing too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right now.
A community action swag bag. No name. Oh, it's Derek.
Hey, Derek. You got to carry that everywhere now.
What are you gonna picture? Very fashionable. There it is. Yeah.
Great to see you.
All right, well, thank you everybody for being here. Oh yeah, we have one more announcement.
Our service committee Big Whiskey next Tuesday. This is a family-friendly event. We will be crafting anytime from 4 to 6 in the back room of Bar Whiskey. So, you guys are welcome to bring kids and help make these friendship bracelets. And we look forward to benefiting the children.
Okay, next time where to go?